Let's pray. Father, we thank you for this time. We thank you for this time that you've given us to come together and just fellowship and just learn from one another and get information from your word and to take it and to live our lives in a way that's not only honoring to you, but honoring to us and honoring to others around us. And I just pray that you open up our hearts and our minds to receive anything that you have to tell us today and just lead us and guide us throughout the rest of this broadcast. And I pray this in Jesus' name. And I want to talk about discard. Discard. We discard trash. Okay? And if I can put together this discard phase for you, I would first of all want you to understand that it literally means to get rid of. Now, if you get rid of trash, I mean, you think about it. If you get rid of trash, do you go back and get that trash? Or is it trash? You just let it go. Right? Well, you don't. You just let that trash go. You don't go back and get it. Well, a true discard is actually getting rid of something. And in this case, it's a relationship. But what's more important to know is from a discard from a narcissist standpoint, they don't really care. It's not really a discard to them. They've actually discarded you a long time ago. They discarded you at initial meeting. You weren't a person to them. You were like, if you got a box of cereal, right? Well, you need that box around that cereal until you use the cereal, right? And when you get done with the cereal and there's no cereal in the box, you discard the box. Well, that's the way they treat relationships. Now, guys, I'm talking about narcissists at this point. I'm not talking about alcoholics. I'm not talking about sex addicts. I'm not talking about drug addicts. Even somebody with just an anger problem. I'm talking about a narcissist. Okay, a narcissist looks at things completely. They look at it completely different. They look at it. It's like it's supply. It's a means to an end until it gets to the end, and then I have to get rid of it. Now, I'm only talking about the discard from their side because I have another side of discard that I'm going to talk about in a second. But I'm talking about a discard from their end. So in the healing process, in the acceptance process, in the knowledge process that I get the knowledge of who these people are, I talked about acceptance. You got to accept who these people are because that's what makes it easy for you to heal. Once I understood and accepted who these people were, then I can sit back and say, okay, well, first of all, I was a box to the cereal. And when they used up all the cereal, they threw the box away. So I'm an individual that was a box that meant nothing to the nutritional value of her. The nutritional value was actually inside me that she was trying to get out of me. And once she got all that nutritional value out of me, there was no more need. There's no more need. And that's when that discard phase, the devaluation phase starts creeping in. And then when that deval stage starts creeping in, then you're almost at the end. You're almost at discard. Now you could look for anything to happen. You could be looking for anger to happen. We went over those things last week. You could be looking for like ghosting. And the ghosting is not because they're just trying to get away from you. They could be looking at other supply. And once you accept who they were or who they are, because who they were is still who they are. But sometimes that can get a little clouded because they put on this mask and they throw these love bombs at you and they make you think that they're somebody that they're not. And that's only because of that analogy with that box of cereal I was talking about. You see, sometimes if you have a big enough box of cereal, you really don't know how far you're going until the end. Until you get to the very end, you can hear like this is getting low. But when it's like 25% to 75%, it's kind of hard to tell where you're at. You don't really know where you are within the box. So at that stage, you'll get a ping pong match going on with their emotions and the way they feel and how they treat you. But still, it leads up to eventually that box of cereal running out, and the box is you, your person. It doesn't mean anything. And I tell people all the time, you can't take it personal, but what they're taking personal is their own emotions. Your emotions that you have inside of you that you gave to them is what you're holding on to and taking personal. I did it, so I understand. But I'm trying to tell you what the truth of the matter is that you're an object. You're not a person. You're an object. And once you understand that that they never loved you, they're incapable of love. So they can't love you, and you have to wrap your head around the truth, and don't wrap your head around the fantasy of who you thought these people were. They're not. And once they get done with you, they will discard you. Unless, on the other side of the picture, there's a discard from the empath or from the person that's being abused. Okay? In my case, I was never discarded. I don't think. I think I discarded and put boundaries around that discard phase, and that discard left her to then say, okay, I can't control him anymore. He understands who I am, so I'm going to discard you. But that didn't mean anything to me because I had already discarded her. It didn't make any difference. I'm like, all right, as a matter of fact, scripturally, you're helping me out, quite frankly, because at the place that I was in, I was battling emotionally and spiritually inside of me, what to do. I'm married to this person, that's lied to me, is not who she says she is, and I really don't have a way out. But then her not being a Christian woman, not being a saved woman, and leaving the relationship, discarding it because of the boundaries, left me in a position of strength. So on the other hand, you have you going through all these emotions, all of this abuse, whether it's mental, whether it's emotional, whether it's physical, to the point that you say, eventually, I've had enough. I'm done now. Now I'm discarding you. And not because I never loved you, it's because I'm not going to put up with this crap anymore. I'm just done with it. So you take the approach that I don't want to deal with this. It's not about a box of cereal because you're an object to me. You are a real person to me, but you're doing the things that a real person shouldn't do and putting me in a situation of uncomfortableness or being unsafe in general. So on the other side of that discard phase is you actually discarding them. So it goes both ways, but it usually works on the side of a narcissist because they have that much control. And I talk to people all the time about gaining control of these people. If you don't try and get your control of these people, then you're put in a bad place. So I want to talk about some scriptures right now before we get into this. And it's not going to be that long. I'm going to try and get through this, but I always say that, but this is a very strange phase. And this phase is going to lead to, us moving forward. The next program is going to call, moving on. And that's going to start getting fun now. Because we're talking about getting past all this crap and starting to get on to a new life. And now that's going to be fun. But I may spend a little bit more time in this. But I'm at 2 Corinthians. I'm at 2 Corinthians 10:13. And in 2 Corinthians 10:13, I want to set a foundation. But in scriptures, there's nothing that has been done over time that hasn't been done before. I don't care what it is. There's nothing common to man that hasn't been done before in the past. Now, let's not be silly. They didn't have cell phones back in AD. They didn't have cell phones in the 20th century. So I'm not talking about those things. I'm talking about things known to man, our emotions, our reactions, and those kinds of things. And Scripture says that in Corinthians, it says that there's no such thing that's common to man. He says, but God is faithful, who will not let us suffer so much that at the end of the day, he won't leave a way to escape. So I was in a situation with this narcissist and going through all this abuse and all this emotional and financial and physical and emotional abuse. But he made a way for me to get out. He says there won't be anything he'll let on me that I won't be able to bear. But in that, he'll leave a way for escape. And guys, I want you to know, really, whether you're a Christian or not, he's going to leave a way for escape for you in some way. But the problem comes in sometimes if your faith isn't there, you won't see it. And that's the problem I have outside of the faith. Yeah, he'll leave a way. I truly believe that. But will he leave it in a way that you'll respond to? Because sometimes if you're so entrenched in sin outside of that, and he brings this to you from a spiritual aspect, you can't see it because you're so lost in your sin and you're so broken in your sin that you can't see it. So I have to go back and say, this is for somebody who's saying, hey, I'm trusting the Lord to help me through this because I trust in the Lord to help me through this. And I'm telling you, he opened up so many doors along the way after I submitted to it. Whether I submitted to it openly or directly or indirectly, he opened up the doors and he made a way for me to see it, and I took it. Whether it was through my accountability partners, through my family, through my friends, through my pastors, through my church members, he made that way for me to see it. So I want you to know that there's nothing that you're going to go through that he won't make a way for you to get out of it. And it may be a tough burden, but he'll leave a way for you to get out of it. Especially if you know Christ. He will leave a way. But you have to be walking in his will. But the good thing is a lot of the discard comes actually from you, the things that you're doing. Because if you're not doing anything and they still have control, this discard phase doesn't mean anything. The discard phase comes in when you're awoke. When you're awoke and you see what's going on and you start realizing something's going wrong here and you start questioning their behavior. And when you start questioning their behavior, that's the first stage of devaluation for them. Because now it's like, okay, I'm caught. I've got to start doing something. I've got to start raising hell. I've got to start flipping things. I've got to start tossing things around. I've got to start devaluing you. And I don't care what it is. You could not be a narcissist and you could be a cheater. And your spouse or person who you're dating could figure it out. And then just confront you. Not even saying you're cheating, but where were you last night? And you're out there doing dirt. You're doing dirt. And the first thing you want to do is defend, deflect. What are you talking about? Now you want to know. Okay, give me some more information before I tell you anything. I need to know. Go deeper. Well, that's the way they are at this stage. Once you wake up and you start asking questions, this leads to the discard stage. That starts to tell them they're getting to the end. They're getting to the end. And I don't care what kind of relationship it's in. Once they're starting to know that you're catching on, they have two options. Get right or get out. And unfortunately, in a narcissistic situation, it's get out. It's very rarely get right. Okay? Because you're a box of cereal to them. You're the box of the cereal to them. You're not the nutrition in the box. Okay? Although you have the nutrition and they're sucking that information out of you and sucking that love out of you and sucking that adoration out of you and sucking that finance out of you and sucking that sex out of you. Okay? Let's suck that out until the box is empty. And then when the box is empty, I got to find a new box of cereal. So I got to go shopping. And sometimes they don't really go shopping. They have a half a box of cereal up in the cabinet. They have like 3 or 4, about half of boxes up there. And they'll just go revisit those other boxes to see, if it's good or not. It could be so old that, it's just stale. And what that is a relationship that they got out of, and they said, I'm not going to deal with this anymore. I'm going to get out of here. So that box is stale. So they got to say, okay, well, it's half a box, but it's no good anymore. It's all stale. I can't eat it. So they throw that away, go find another box or a fresh box. Okay? So that's one cause of the initial start to this discard stage. Another one is they just can't handle the boundaries. They can't handle these boundaries that you're putting on them. Because now you know what's going on. Now you're saying, okay, I'm not putting up with this. I'm not putting up with this. Okay, so you want to what? I'm trying to give you an example. I just saw an email, a text message on your phone from this girl or guy. All right? Hey, you're caught. All right? Now I got to start putting some boundaries around you. All right? You got to unlock that phone. I need to make, when I need your phone, I need to pick up your phone. In order for me to trust you, in order for me to gain back this trust that I've lost because I just caught you emotionally tied on the phone with another person, I've got to trust you. And the way that I'm going to trust you is I'm going to set this boundary. Is that I have now access to go to your phone anytime I want to go to your phone. Now, if you love me and you want the relationship to work and you really truly mean that you're sorry and this won't happen again, then what's the issue? There's no issue. There's only issue when you're deceptive and you're not telling the truth and you really don't love that person. That's when you say, no, we're not going to do that. No, trust me. Why did you trust me? There you go. That little toss salad, the gaslighting. Trust, turn it around. Trust me. No. You just lost my trust. You should be saying, gain my trust. Gain my trust. And when those boundaries are in place and they can't handle it, I gotta go check for some more cereal boxes. Whether it's a new box, I gotta go check on that old box because I know this is not gonna change. And if it's not gonna change, it's only going one direction. I can see it now. He, she, they're not gonna put up with this anymore. And they're gonna start to say, I'm out of here. So before I'm gonna allow them the opportunity to discard me, I'm talking as a narcissist, I'm going to discard you first. But first, I'm going to devour the heck out of you first. To see if I can get a little bit more control, maybe get a little bit more time, maybe see if I can make you a quarter of a box of supply. I'm saying a box of cereal with a quarter amount of cereal left. All right? And I want a quarter left so I can put it up here on the shelf up here, and maybe I can come back with you after I discard you. So they'll work that situation out. All right? So these boundaries will place them in a position that they have to start thinking of how to start discarding you in the proper way. I will move on to the next point, which is, they will lose interest in you. And here again, I can bring in the analogy of the box of cereal. It's not so much interest, but it is interest, but it's not. It's only interest because the things that they're getting from you, they're almost at the end of it. You've almost given as much as you can give, so there's no more I can get from you, or there's very little that I can get from you. So you're getting close to that discard phase. I'm not interested in you that much anymore because I'm not getting that much out of you, and I see this thing going so low that I have to lose interest. Okay, but if I don't lose interest, then hey, I have a possibility of getting hurt. I'm talking like a narcissist right now, or somebody that's taking advantage of you. I've got to do this. If I don't do this, then hey, then I could be hurt. I'm not going to be hurt. I'm the abuser. I'm hurting you. So I'm going to start my discard phase through devaluation right now. And the further you are in that box, the lower you are in that box, is the quicker they've got to start devaluing and start this discard process. Okay? So guys, we're all adults here, so I can talk. Sexually, they could have a need, and the vibrance of the sexual encounter in the beginning of the relationship was like, wow, it's new, it's fresh, okay? And then all of a sudden, I need more. I need more. And you might have a situation where a woman is contacting what has happened because her husband was getting into pornography. Well, he's getting to pornography because he needed more. And that's a way of devaluing her, because now he's actually having sex with a computer screen. And it's not even real. It's fake. And if that fake situation is satisfying him, she can never satisfy him. So she's devalued and she's almost discarded just with that alone. And what happens? A woman starts feeling neglected, and then the woman starts looking at this, and now she starts her own discard phase. That's why I said it could go both ways. So with that said, you're no longer needed for them. Okay, the needs aren't getting met, so I've got to start looking for a new box of cereal, or go back to my half-used box. And I said before, I used the analogy of cars in a garage last time, but I use the box of cereal now because it's more relevant to make you understand that that there's something inside of you that they feed off of until it goes down to the end, and then they have to have a new supply. It's never you. It's not your fault. It has nothing to do with you whatsoever. It has to do with an emptiness inside of them that can never be filled. Never be filled. Well, it actually can. Okay? And I think it can be filled. They have a God void that's not filled. That's what I personally believe. They have a God void that is never going to be filled by sex, manipulation, emotionally from another person. I'm not going to say a woman or a man, emotionally another person. I saw a post that said, and you might even be on this live cast. The post was, can a woman heal a man's hurt? That's what the post said. And you should have read some of the things that were in there. No, they can't, but, if the sex is good enough, then maybe they can. Yes, they can, if you find the right person, And I wrote in there, no, only God can heal the hurt. It's not going to be done by a man. It's not going to be done by a woman. You should never rely on another human being, okay, to fulfill you. It's not going to happen. They're not built that way. We're not built that way. We're all broken individuals. And we will fail each other. We will fail each other for certain. I'm saying that. I will fail sooner or later. I'm not perfect. Only Jesus is perfect. But I've got grace through him. If you're with somebody and they're doing something that you don't like, well, find out if they have a guideline for life. And then go to that guideline and say, okay, you have a guideline for life? Yes, I do. Okay, my guideline is this. This is my Bible. This is my guideline. All right, you're doing this to me, okay? And I don't like it. Can we see if your guideline says that's not something you should do because that's your guideline, that's what you're living by? That's what I usually want to tell people. Because if they don't have a guideline at all, it's a freebie. They can do whatever they want. You don't hold them accountable. It's nothing to hold them accountable for. It's their belief. Number 7 is they've lost control of you. That would cause a discard phase. I know it started the discard phase for me. When she finally figured out she had absolutely no control over me. That I was drumming my own drum and I'm going my own way. And I once looked at her and said, listen, I just want you to know, I'm going in a direction here. I'm going in a direction. You're either coming with me or you're not. But there's one thing I can assure you. I said this. That I'm not going your way. For certain, I'm not going your direction. You can look at that and say, well, you're a little condescending, you're pretty selfish. No, I'm not selfish at all. So you're trying to tell me that I need to go her direction and be abused? Huh? Be taken advantage of? Be ridiculed? No. I'm going one way. I'm going this way. You're either going this way with me or you're not. And once she grasped that is when she said to herself, I'm sure I don't know this, but based on the actions, I do know this. I'm done. I can't get this one. Now she's got to go create something. And it's got to be with somebody that doesn't know me. It's got to be with somebody that she's been talking to, probably a supply. You know, they go to supply and they make up this thing with supply to get supply going, oh, wow, God, I can't believe that. Wow, why would he do that? Man, hey, but they don't really know the truth. They were just like I was back then. Because I remember those stories myself. And I would be like going, I remember those stories clearly. And I used to think, this dude is crazy. Really? Why would he do that? Are you serious? Wow. Was he? Really? Oh, I got this. I got you. Don't worry about this fool. Didn't know the truth. Now I know the truth. He wasn't a fool. He was me. I just didn't know it yet. And once I came to the realization of it is when everything started to go in the opposite direction, the way they actually should go. So, with that said, I talked about the new supply. That is definitely one reason that we start that discard phase like immediately. And they may have a new supply, but you don't really know about it. Because you don't really know about it because they have to keep it covert. Because if you even knew about it and you're in a devaluation stage already and you knew about it, it'll be a quicker discard and it doesn't give them a chance to plan. But if you're at that point that you're at an eighth of a box of cereal, you'll know about that supply source. They either use that supply source to make you jealous, they'll use that supply source to solidify the breakup, they'll use that supply source to control a situation that you're in, but they will use that supply source one way or the other. Okay? So they will use supply sources to get that away. You don't have any value to them anymore. All right? So what we're talking about now is how to prepare ourselves for this onslaught. Okay? The first thing I need for you to know is, guys, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. I don't care what happens. I don't care what you think. I don't care what they do. I don't care what you've done. It's not your fault. Okay? You got to own that first. It's not your fault that you're in the middle of at the end. It's not your fault. Period. Let me turn around this way. I can prove it. If it was your fault, do you think you'd be in this situation? Just think about that. If it were your fault that you're at the end of the relationship, could it be your fault? What is it that you could have done to make it your fault? Just think about that for a minute. I'm going to tell you right now, there's nothing in my past relationship that I could have done that made it my fault. Nothing. I try to do everything I can to make it happen, not to make it end. So it can't possibly be my fault. And I'm telling you, if you're there too, then guess what? It's not your fault. Now, if you're being abusive to them and you're, cussing them out and doing stupid stuff and you're causing these reactions and all this stuff, now that's a different story. Now, I'm not saying that that you cause somebody to physically abuse you. I'm not saying that, okay? But what I can say is this. If you're being physically abusive to somebody else and they protect themselves by being physically abusive back to you, then you caused that. On the other hand, if you're mentally abusing somebody and then they're turning around and they're mentally abusing you back, then, hey, I don't have anything to say about that. You're abusing them. So I'm saying if you are clean and you're coming into this situation with a clean heart, without reproach, okay, you don't have a fault in this. And you've got to sit back and accept that and say, okay, that's the start of this whole thing. I'm going to accept the fact that I don't have any fault in this. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start taking control. I'm going to start taking control of this whole discard phase. And the way I'm going to take control of it is I'm going to start accepting. I'm going to accept that that person that I met, that person that I thought I loved and thought I knew, is not the person that I thought. They're a completely different person than I thought they were. I just didn't know it because of the mask and the love bombing and the deception that they placed on me. So I'm going to first take control of the fact that I don't know you. I remember once saying to my ex, I don't even know who you are. Who are you? I don't know who you are. I can tell you this, is that you are the most evil person that I've ever met in my entire life. And how in the world did I get in this relationship? I don't know. I was confused. How in the world can somebody to go from this nice, loving, kind person to Satan? I mean, literally, guys. I'm not talking about just being a bad person. I'm talking about being an evil person. An evil person. How does that happen? Because they were always that way in the beginning. But you can't hold up that mask forever. You can hold up that mask when we're, 1,200 miles away from each other, and you're flying here and I'm flying there, and just meet there and stay there for a week and this, and you can hide then. But when you get 24/7, it's hard to hide. It's hard to hide. And these things start coming out. And you got to say, I know who you are now. I know who you are. And since I know who you are, I'm going to accept who you are. And since I accept who you are, I'm going to take my power back. I'm going to take my power back. And now I'm going to take the power of this discard phase. Now they can say to you, you can say that to them because you have power now. I'm done. I'm taking over this now. But I'm going to say, these are my expectations. That's how I'm taking my power back. I'm starting my discard phase. This is how I'm taking my power back. This is my expectations of you in this relationship. Now, she did look at me like, no, I don't care. You can say whatever you want. But this is where we are right now. And I'm saying this out of the house. I had moved out. So I can say this and go back to my place like where I am right now. Okay? I'm okay. But this is what I'm taking over this discard phase. So if I take over this discard phase and say, this is what I accept, and you go, forget it, I'm not going to do that, and you walk away, I didn't lost anything. I caused that. It's my power. I caused this. It's my power. And you've got to step up and take your power back out of the situation and say, this is what I'm going to do. This is who I am. I'm not letting you control this. I'm going to control this. And if you want to go, you can go. But this is what I expect. Okay? If they do it, then praise God. You got something. Go to counseling. Go get an accountability marriage couple. Whatever it is. I don't know. But at least you're moving in the direction that you need to move in, that all this stuff is out of the way. And especially get some help. You got it? You just can't say, let's get back together. No, you got to require that you go in for counseling. It's not my counseling. It's your own personal counseling. Go see somebody personally for you, for your own growth. That's part of my boundary. Okay? Because I know if you're not getting that done, all this is not happening for certain. Nothing can happen. Unless you get yourself right, nothing's going to happen. So take back your power. And in that power, start setting your parameters of what you want to do. You got to understand in this, and it's hard to just wrap your head around. You never had a relationship in the first place. Never. You never had a relationship. It wasn't real. They didn't have the same love that they're incapable of love, number one. But they didn't have the same love for you that you had for them. It wasn't even love for them. It was like a situation. You know, they might as well get to one of their friends, and one of their friends go, hey, so, you got a new girlfriend, I see. No, it's just like, yeah, it's a situation. You know, they wouldn't say that. They could say, yeah, I got a relationship. I don't have a relationship. It's a situation, a temporary situation. You know, I don't even call it a temporary relationship. I'm going to take relationship word off the table. It's a situation. Okay? And you got to understand that and own that. That goes along with taking back that power back. Okay? If you look at these things the way it is, and I'm telling you these things to help you prepare for it, then trust me, it will clear you up. It'll clear your heart. It'll clear your mind. Okay? You got to understand that when you leave, or when they leave, they won't miss you. So you're trying to tell me, I'm just creating an example here. I wish I could get a box of cereal. You buy a box of cereal, right? Your favorite box of cereal. Now listen, it's your favorite box. And you have this box of cereal, and you're tearing it up for a couple of weeks, tearing that box in, enjoying every minute of it. Okay? And then after you get done with that cereal, the box is empty. You go like, okay, God, it's empty. You throw that box away. Finish that last that last morsel. I finished it. Okay? What do you do with that box? You throw that box away. It's in the trash. So, would you say that I miss that box? I miss that box. I threw that box away like a week ago. I miss that box. I sure wish I had that box. Man, if I had that box would make me feel so good. No, you wouldn't say that. No, you wouldn't say that. They don't miss you. They don't miss the box. They miss what was in the box, but it's not in the box anymore. It's a box. I'm done with the box. I need to go find me another box that's full of supply, that's full of nourishment, so I can start all over again. Now, on the other hand, okay, if you have like an eighth more in there, right? And it just so happens that I had to get rid of you for some reason, or maybe you got rid of me and I still had an eighth of a box in there. Okay? Then I'm going to probably be looking to get that box back sometime just to see if I can finish that box off. Whether they discard you or you discard them, if there's still a little bit left in that box, you're going to hear from them again. That process is called hoovering. And they'll do that subtly. They'll do that by driving by your place. Forget about driving by your place. How about sitting outside of your place, down the street? And then when you hop in your car, they see you hop in their car, then they start their car and drive by. They don't say anything. They just drive by. Hoping that you'll go, huh? Or you'll put your window down, put your hand out. Or you'll get out of the car and stand up and go, like, you just gonna pass me by? That's what they're looking for. Okay? That's that little eighth. You still got a little eighth hanging in you there. They're looking for that. So they can stop that car and go, okay, I'm gonna finish this box of cereal. Okay? I gotta go back, finish this box of cereal. And maybe I'll do it slowly. But that's what they're looking for. Okay? And you gotta be careful. That's part of that discard phase. And if worst case, I'm going to take that little eighth of a box of cereal and I'm going to put that up here on the shelf because I got a new supply over here. And sooner or later, I know that supply is going to run out. And maybe by the time that supply runs out, maybe she put a little bit more cereal in that box over there. Maybe she got another box and and kind of fill that box up, my box, you know, and now I got like a half over there, but I don't know it. But I'll figure it out when I go back and check that out. Okay, that's called hoovering. They may just call you up on the phone. This happened to me many times. Did I just see your car? This, swear to God, this happened to me. Promise to God. I'm going to swear to God. Hey, did you just drive down, what's the street called? I can't remember the street. And I'm like, no, I didn't. Oh, I just thought I saw you. You sure you know, where you at? You sure I'm like, no, I wasn't. Now, I was in Beverly Hills, by the way. I was 10 miles away from this spot. So I wasn't even close, all right? But I wasn't going to say where I was. I was just like, really? No, that was your tinted windows and you had your top down and I'm like, no, okay, listen, it wasn't me. That was a Hoover call. I hadn't heard from her for a little bit. Just want to check up. You know, that's different than saying, hey, I was just thinking about you and I just wanted to call you and say hello and see how you... No, it wasn't that. Just a little Hoover call. What she expected was, no, it wasn't me. So how you doing? So what have you been doing lately? That's what she expected. But she got a gray rock from me. Gray rock means that I said nothing. Nothing. As a matter of fact, I just wanted to get off the phone. You know, I picked it up for a reason I don't have a clue. Picked it up for a reason, and that was before I blocked the call. Later, I had to block her. But this is when I wasn't blocked because I can control the call. I can hang up or do it. But I got to a point that I just didn't want to have anything to do with it. I just literally blocked it. It went straight no contact, which is going to be what I'm going to talk about in a little bit. Okay? So be careful for the hoovering. That's going to happen. You fall into that hoovering process, you give them an open door, and you allow them to walk through it, it's your responsibility. And you have to take ownership of that. And we're going to talk about that in the next phase when we start talking about moving on. The last two things I'll talk about is one is triangulation. Okay? When they get these new supplies sometimes they want you to know about that new supply. And they want to bring you into that situation, you know. Sometimes if you're an attractive person, they'll want to show you off to the old supply so they know that, hey, yeah, you had it going on. Yeah, you had it going on, you know. So they say, okay, then you are worthy of me. If you can be with this person, all right, then hey, all right, I'm straight. Because they saw you with the derelict. You went and said, hey, yeah, this is my ex-boyfriend over there. That's him over there. Yeah. And you're derelict. They're like, you know, I don't want to be with you. If you can be with that person, you definitely can't be with me. So they'll use you in that manner. They'll use you in a point to say, especially if you're, you know, an attractive person or you have any type of character at all. You can not be attractive, but maybe be a CEO of a company or something like that, or a district manager or something high up in somewhere. They'll use that. So if somebody can look at that and they can say, okay, well, hey, you know, you can have that, then you can have me. And they'll use it in another way. That now they want to start conflict and start having you be jealous of a person because you're not this person. And now your jealousy starts up, and now it's a threesome. Now it's all, everybody's get all wrapped up, and they're just sitting back going, yeah, everybody's fighting over me. You know, I'm controlling this circus here. Okay? So you got to be careful for the triangulation method that they'll use other supplies against you and on behalf of you. Okay? It's all a ploy. It's all tricks. It's all mirrors. It's all ways to take advantage of another person. And it's sad. It's so sad. But it is so true. So you got to say, hey, I got to go off of what's true. Okay? So, last thing I want to say is you may have to cut the cord. You know I had to cut the cord. You may have to cut that cord. Just straight no contact, like period no contact. Now sometimes if you have kids, you know, you have certain situations that, you know, doesn't allow you to cut that cord. You know what those situations are. But there might come a time you might have to say, hey, I'm done. I need zero contact. to help me move into my final stage of healing and move on with my life. Okay? So there will come a time that you will have to have no contact. Now, will it stay that way that you don't need to have no contact? Most of the time. But not all the time. Not all the time. Am I going to go give my ex my phone number? No, I'm not going to do that.